Welcome back to the That Now podcast, the podcast on a 40-year nostalgic trip through the iconic Now That's What I Call Music series, one album at a time. Each episode will dive deep into the tracks, the artists, and the cultural moments that made these compilations the soundtrack of our lives. We'll also pick our 3 favorite songs from each side of the album to go into our Hall of Fame. In this episode, we're turning back the clock and reviewing the second side of Now That's What I Call Music 11, the UK version, released on March 21st, 1988. You can find all the tracks we will discuss on our Spotify playlist linked in the description, so you can listen along with our journey. And if you want to let us know what you thought of these tracks, then drop us a DM on Instagram at ThatNowPodcast or email us at thatnowpodcast@gmail.com. 1988 was the first year that CDs outsold vinyls. The Sega Genesis video game console was released, and the Oprah Winfrey Show became a cultural phenomenon. So, will the second side of Now 11 be as beloved as our cherished home consoles, or will it be as disappointing as a violent punch-up over alimony payments? First side of Now was rated very poorly, picking up a lowly D grade. Our brief highlights being Heaven is a Place on Earth by Belinda Carlisle, Suede Head by Morrissey, and Mandinka by Sinead O'Connor. I'm your host, Leo, and I'm joined by my fellow resident audiophile, James.
Hello.
James, how are you?
I'm good. Maybe less good when we talk about the album, but...
Yeah,
And you're doing great as well, aren't you, Leo? We're both a little bit hungover.
Both a little bit hungover, but perfect remedy for that is to talk about Now 11 side 2.
To quickly fly through Now 11 and never talk about it ever again.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're going to do things a bit differently on this side.
The first side of Now 11 was dreadful, and then the second side is worse. And we basically lost the will to live listening to it. And then I did a very succinct breakdown of it to Leo over text, where there's 3 Stock Aitken and Waterman songs. There's 5 British house songs that use samples over a bass line and a beat and drum machines. We're going to group those together. We're going to talk about Stock Aitken Waterman, and we're going to talk about how British house is becoming a phenomenon at this time. And we're starting to build up to 1988 Summer of Love, the second Summer of Love, and Leo have a wonderful educational segment about that.
Absolutely.
And then there's some other songs. So that's 8 of the songs is either British house music or Stock Aitken Waterman, and we'll talk about the other songs as well. But we will be speedrunning this album because it's really bad.
Yeah.
So hang in there, put your goggles on, fire up the playlist.
And let's go.
I'll start off by talking about Stock Aitken Waterman.
Yes, please do.
So there's 3 Stock Aitken Waterman songs on this album. Kylie Minogue, I Should Be So Lucky. Mel and Kim, That's the Way It Is. And Bananarama, I Can't Help It. So who are Stock Aitken and Waterman?
Who are they?
They became household names in the UK. They had collectively 13 number ones, and they had 3 US number 1 singles. So even 3 new US number 1 singles is pretty major. They have had over 100 top 40 hits. They're not messing around.
No, Jesus.
I think the power of them as producers is that they are still recognised in England and in the UK as household names, maybe wider than that as well. And I think it's very rare that you get producers who are also household names.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think someone like the Neptunes, who are well-known producers, or Pharrell. Maybe Pharrell is the one modern example.
Yeah.
Or Timbaland or Dre or something. But is your mum going to know them? I don't know necessarily. So, it basically started off that Mike Stock and Matt Aitken were musicians, and Pete Waterman was a music producer. And Pete Waterman had just been producing a band called Aswad, who do feature on Now 12, so we'll talk about them.
Yeah.
Their biggest song is Don't Turn Around, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, Don't Walk Away. It's a reggae song. It's a nice song. So Pete Waterman had finished managing Aswad, and then Mike Stock and Matt Aitken kind of went to him and were like, hey, we want to start producing music. I know that you produce music. Shall we work together? And they did. And they had some brief success with a few artists initially. And then what really broke them through was September 1984, Dead or Alive, You Spin Me Right Round. You Spin Me Round
Iconic.
Like a Record. Now, that was their first hit. And basically, they began to combine this sound, high energy sound, 120 beats per minute, very influenced by Italo disco and gay disco in America. And it's very much dancefloor music. And they basically tried to come up with what they kind of called the Motown of high energy. So they replaced maybe the Italian pop side of it, or the kind of anthemic soul that you might get in the gay discos or the Italo discos, and they changed it to more pop. And that's why you hear Bananarama, that's why you hear Kylie, etc. So they explode with Dead or Alive, and then they really start to get going when they get Kylie Minogue. When they get Kylie Minogue, and when they get Rick Astley, who used to be the T-boy at their studio, who's got this amazing voice, and they drop, Never Gonna Give You Up, which is probably the most famous Stock Aitken Waterman song around. And then they do I Should Be So Lucky, like by Kylie. They then pretty much produce all of Kylie's music until around the early 90s. So there's when I watched a documentary about it, I felt a little bit like, when Frodo touches the ring sometimes, and he has those like flashes where he sees Mordor and all this shit. I was like, oh God, we're going to have 5 years of Kylie singles by Stock Aitken Waterman, and everything else. Like, still Rick has not really appeared. I don't know if he is appearing at some point, but there's a lot more Stock Aitken Waterman coming up. I think having, watched these documentaries, we know these songs, we know a lot of the songs. They're very much mass produced, right? And they talked in this documentary about how they pretty much had sound engineers working 24/7 on this music, and they were aiming to have all of the top 10 of Stock Aitken Waterman songs. And there's not much doubt to me that they were talented. There's definitely talent there to have that much success. And especially, I Should Be So Lucky, they wrote that in an hour or something.
Oh my God.
Basically, they found out that Kylie was coming. They were like, oh, you meant to have a song for her. They didn't have a song for her. And I think it's Mike Stock who wrote that in half an hour. And then they just chucked it on. But it's very much a quantity over quality process. And you have this like thin slither of like 5% of the songs, so maybe what you can objectively call good, or at least poppy and catchy. And the rest is very, very landfill. And there's also around this time, there's starting to be a counter movement against them. So they're being mocked on Spitting Image, for example.
Right.
Where Kylie's like a puppet and Stock Aitken Waterman are controlling her arms and her legs. And she's singing, I am very lucky, 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 because she's got Stock Aitken Waterman. And there's also later on in the album, in this album we're reviewing, there's the Morris Minor group, the Comedians, who do a parody. Yeah. And the B-side of their song was a parody of Stock Aitken Waterman called Just Another B-Side. And it was just like mocking them for the mass-produced nature of their music. So yeah, we've already touched upon Stock Aitken Waterman because of Bananarama that we've had on the albums. And obviously coming up, we're going to have a lot more Stock Aitken Waterman. And at this point, the marquee is really Kylie and Mel and Kim. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that is it. But basically, as the 90s, as the kind of the public started to get quite tired of the saturation of the music, and there's definitely a formula to their songs, which is the drum machines at 120 beats per minute. There's a parping synth, and there's usually the melody of the chorus. And then there's some face that's singing very generic lyrics about love, etc. So their powers did start to fade in the 90s. And eventually Kylie was like, God, I'm not it anymore, I'm not with it anymore. And she left. And a lot of their artists they tried to kind of get in the place of Rick Astley or Kylie were just not quite as charismatic or as strong. So eventually over the 90s, they really did kind of fade out. And then when Mike Stock left, he went on to manage Steps, and they did a Kylie cover, Better the Devil You Know. So that was that, really. And I think they made the money by them. I think the number quoted on the Wikipedia is 60 million in royalties that they got. I think just over this period of time. So they'd done their bit. They become a household name. They got the singles. They had the success. I think they pretty much achieved what they wanted to achieve. So shall we talk about the first of their singles on this
Yes,
album?
we shall. Yes. First up, it's Kylie, obviously, everyone's favorite diminutive Australian. Kylie Minogue with her stock Aitken and Waterman belter, I Should Be So Lucky. This song hit number 1 in the UK and all across Europe, basically. James, do you think she was lucky?
That's a good question, actually. Well, she'd done The Locomotion in Australia.
Yeah.
And that got big. And that was a good cover. I kind of feel like Kylie's the kind of person who's just got that charisma and a bit of an X factor that if it wasn't for Stock Aitken Waterman, somebody else might have made her a star, to be honest. So I'm not necessarily sure if she's been so lucky. They're very lucky to get her as the face of Stock Aitken Waterman, to be honest.
I agree. I was going to say.
If somebody else sings this song, I'm not sure if it's as popular as it is. Even if it's kind of a comparative vocal. So nobody's ever really said that Kylie's got the best voice in the world, really, have they?
No,
I think there's just more something about her. Obviously, she's extremely attractive. And she has that girl next door thing going on. But there's something, the charisma of her, there is something about her voice that has this quality of being sounding unique, really.
Yeah.
It's not going to blow you away, but it catches your ear in the same time. And given the amount of time this week that I've had this chorus in my head going, I should be so lucky, walking around like that it is one of Stock Aitken Waterman's biggest successes. I was thinking when I read all this stuff about Kylie being the girl next door, I was thinking like, how come I never had a next door neighbor like Kylie? Like,
I've never understood that saying because like in theory I understand it, but it's just like for American movies to me. Like it's not a real person because I never knew my neighbor.
But then I thought, well, Kylie must live next door to somebody, so she is somebody's girl next door.
Yeah.
But my next door neighbor was like an angry man who worked at Haribo factory. And the other one was a policeman who sometimes had a few drinks and played cricket with us in the street. So it's not quite the same.
It's not quite the same, no.
But I did have that existential moment where I was like, Kylie does live next door to somebody.
True, yeah.
So, yeah. And what I thought was distinguished this song from a lot of the other Stock Aitken Waterman songs is a lot of them just start off with the drum machine and then the melody in a synth. Is it a synth? I don't know. Just do 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 do. But this one really combined the two in like the core. It was under the chorus, and for that reason it's less annoying compared to like what was the Bananarama song last time where it was and you're just like, oh, like, you just know what it's going to be. Whereas when it's under the chorus, it's a bit more subtle and it's just reinforcing the voice, if you know what I mean. So I think that was a good thing. And last of all, just the music video, I found it quite funny when she had that big picture next to her bed.
Yeah,
it was like was it even a heart-shaped frame?
Yes,
but it looked like stock image man number 1, and it was like a fairy tale almost. Like this big stupid one.
Who is this man?
Yeah, there's no other decorations in the apartment really, except that one big picture next to her bed that she then gazes lovingly at. I thought that was quite funny.
Yeah.
Did you enjoy this song?
I absolutely love this song. Are we still doing halves?
I think we have to.
Well, we have to. This is my first half. I'm giving it to Kylie.
Okay.
Yeah, she is such a gay icon. First of all, and I agree with what you're saying. Like, it's not like her voice is anything extraordinary, especially in the pop scene. There are some, female superstars that have more range or, something more interesting, but it still works so well with the kind of music that she puts out. It's the perfect voice. It's a bit strident. It goes very high. It's very girly. It's just perfect. It's such a good sound. And she's still going. Like, I just have so much respect for her. Like, she still puts out music and she's still an icon, So just for that, I thought, she starts off this side and I thought, okay, it might be Kylie for me in my first half. And then this song, I didn't actually know this song very well. It sounded familiar, but I hadn't really actively listened to it. I think it's very well produced. And controversial opinion or not, I think it would work really well as a K-pop song. Suddenly I had this thought and I was like, I shall be in contact with SM Entertainment or Hybe and tell them, you guys should remake this song with a girl group or something. You know what I mean?
But they're K-pop producers, or they're people who run K-pop groups, not K-pop groups itself.
No. But that's also what I was thinking. I think it's very niche, but there are like K-pop producers that are very famous and they only produce K-pop hits. You know,
there are a lot of like Western songwriters who just go to Korea and make loads of money off.
There's a lot of English producers who only write and produce songs for the K-pop entertainment business. It's actually crazy. It's a whole business.
Because that's somewhere where pop's been kept alive, even when it's been diminished in the West, right? Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, it's a camp. It makes a lot of people a lot of money. There's actually a lot of comparisons to this time in Western music and K-pop now that I shan't go too much into because I'm still like building up this idea. But it's like, not paying the artists, and it's all about the producers making a lot of money. This is very similar in K-pop now. A lot of the idols don't actually aren't that rich. It's only like on the level of BTS or something like that. That's like more worldwide, where they are millionaires, basically.
Yeah, I got rejected from BTS.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
Just said I didn't have the right vibe.
Shit.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, I hate it every time I see him.
I mean, it's a tough business, tough competition.
I'm not bitter because they're a great bunch of lads.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially, who's the tall fella who wears like a green blazer on the Butter video? Jin. I like him. Yeah. He's got like main villain kind of vibes about him.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all pretty cool. But there's the kind of guy, there's the guys with the softer voices.
Yeah.
They're obviously more aimed for the, mass appeal of the girls. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, but that's not even, I think also girl groups are super interesting because they also they get really overlooked. But a few years ago, one of them, a girl group called IVE, IVE, they all have terrible names, did a cover of I Will Survive. But they, wrote their own lyrics on top of it. They sampled the main bit. And it worked so well that listening to I Should Be So Lucky, it also just the I should be so lucky, 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 lucky. It's very K-pop coded. It's really ahead of its time, kind of, as a song. So, I was just listening to it and I had this breakthrough. So I'll let you guys know if it goes anywhere. I'll just send them an email.
Yeah, you've officially copyrighted that idea right now.
Yeah.
Actually, I think you're onto some there, like, because obviously you could almost see this like as the genesis of the boy bands and girl groups of the 90s, which are coming in just super catchy, super hooky. Choruses like that.
Yeah.
Manufactured pop.
Exactly. But, when sometimes they do make a bop. They do make an amazing song.
Oh, big time. Yeah, definitely.
And I fall for it every time, and I love that kind of stuff. After getting fresh for the weekend, Mel and Kim are back. Tragically, this would be their last major release prior to the death of Mel from cancer at only 23 years old. This song reached number 10 in the UK. It's very bittersweet. I absolutely love this song. I think it's so good. Yeah, really. The first 3 songs, I was like in a dancey mood. I was like, yeah, let's go. Okay. I really like their voices again. I think it works really well. It's just such a sad thing, that she passed away so young. And I watched the music video. I watched a little bit of the music video and they're not in it, right? It's just, it's other people dancing, having fun to this song on like a stage bit, kind of.
Yeah, they've just got dancers in, yeah.
Yeah. I thought that was really nice. And all the comments are just like, I think I saw one comment that said that the producers or someone was just like crying, putting this video together and telling people what to do because they were like, this is just so sad.
Yeah.
I think it's a really nice song to end, this duo, I guess. I added it to my liked songs. This is definitely the kind of song that I would listen to again if I'm in a dancey mood, I guess. I do think it's also because it's kind of sandwiched in between these 2 songs that I really enjoy. So in the setup of this side, it makes sense and I really like it. But yeah, there's not much to, dissect about it. It's the same kind of sound, melody, but it is catchy. And yeah, I was really enjoying it. I almost gave it a half, but then I was like, I can't put two half one after the other. That's a bit much. But considering what's coming next, I was like, this is a good way to, start the side. Did you not enjoy it?
I found it just very forgettable.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like actually Get Fresh for the Weekend, and I think that really captured what Mel and Kim are about. And I feel this is more this is Stop Aching and Waterman again, and I feel like when they wrote the like on the documentary I watched, they were talking about how Get Fresh for the Weekend really captured what they were about. Two young girls going out in London, don't have the money, but they're kind of like still they're showing off, right? They're getting fresh for the weekend, all that kind of thing. And it's all about like, I don't have the diamonds, but I'm still whatever. And they're talking about, that was really who we were at the time, and you got that sense through the music and through the video. Here I just feel like it's just drowning in Stock Aitken and Waterman production, and it's the chorus just isn't hooky or clear enough to me to really have me enjoy it. I just found it very forgettable, and one of those ones where I have to remind myself how it went. So yeah, that's really it, to be honest.
You're looking at the number one. That's the way it is. American diva Joyce Sims up next with her silky dance floor jam, Come Into My Life. This song hit number 7 in the UK and number 10 on the US R&B chart. James, how do you feel about Joyce Sims?
I think this is an excellent song. It's HOF,
yeah.
Hall of Fame. It's a bit of a throwback, isn't it? It reminds me a lot of like a Chic record, a slow jam Chic type record. Very sultry. Yeah, she's got a brilliant voice. And there's that one moment where she just like howls for the moon.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Brilliant singing, and holds it for so long. And also there's all these really nice, pleasant guitar licks over the groove. And it's a very, I would have loved to be around at that time when this came on, and in a club it would have been a real jam, I think. I mean, I don't think lyrically it's going to be off the charts or anything, but it's just the groove, the feeling and ambience it creates as a track is really solid. So definitely, a Hall of Fame. And in this cast of songs on this album, it's the clear standout in my opinion. I believe you're of the same disposition.
Absolutely. Second half. Let's go.
Hoff.
Yeah, big Hoff. And she's stunning in the music video. She's just playing the piano. Looking great.
Classy lady, yeah.
Classy. I'm just trying to find, there's one, that's it. There's one lyric that I absolutely love where she's like, we'll shine like diamond ice. We'll shine like diamond ice. It's so good. Yeah.
A lot of people do that with ice, don't they?
Yes. It's a perfect word to kind of do something else with the sound. You know, you layer the sound of it, and then it just adds something a little more, and you're like, oh, I like that. I like that, how she said that.
It's a bit like
so
tonight.
Good.
Tonight.
Yes. Yeah.
Tonight. This kind of feeling.
Ice. It's great. And I agree the lyrics aren't anything crazy, but because I was doing my intense research into acid house, which I'll be talking about later, and that whole kind of vibe, and the Summer of Love of 88 and all that stuff, it's interesting to look at the song from the point of view of ecstasy, from the point of view of the drug, because it's really like, I'll treat you right, I'll show you love, I'll show you sweet melodies, like rather than just a woman talking to, someone. Suddenly I was more like, because that's what it was all about. It was really the drug that made you feel, and it still does, I guess, make you feel love. And
about a person necessarily, more a feeling.
Yes.
This idea, yeah.
Yeah. And it's really like that year is when it kicked off on the mainstream, I guess. Everybody was, doing
a bit like
it,
Donna Summer,
basically.
I Feel Love.
Yeah.
It's a feeling, yeah.
It's the feeling of it. It's not really a relationship. Yeah. Well, yeah, obviously. But yeah, I just thought it's just very fitting for the time. And yeah, it's great. Love it. And I'd never heard of her before.
No, it's a complete surprise, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she did anything else.
Sometimes this is the good side of those Now albums. We come across these songs like this. It's like a moment of a silver lining in a sea of nothing.
Songs like this, songs like Hue and Cry, songs like some of the big country songs I found from doing the albums. Yeah. It's been some good stuff.
Yeah.
And even the bad stuff, to be honest, I like talking to my stepdad or other people of a later age, let's say, and being like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, yeah, it was shit. And it's just funny to like, they'll be like, oh, how could we listen to that? And it's fun to relate to them and, some of the songs of their youth that maybe we're just not aware of because we only know the hits, perhaps.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's not all bad.
No.
But it's about to get bad now.
It's time for some Jelly Bean.
It's Billboard magazine's 99th most successful dance artist of all time, Jelly Bean. And he's back with another sugary treat, Who Found Who, featuring Eliza Fiorillo. This song was number 10 in the UK and number 18 in the US. So in my notes for this album, the first 3 tracks is a slow, a quick typing of me basically saying, I'm dancing, I'm standing up, I'm having a great time. 4th song, I'm sitting back down. It's like if I'm in a club, the first 3 songs would be like, yes, let's go, having a great time. Jelly Bean comes on, Who Found Who, I'm going to go outside, maybe check if we can go to another club. Yeah, I'm not staying for that. And it's just it's too long for one thing. It's too long. And at some point, I'm sorry, Eliza, I think her voice is fine, but the Who Found Who, I was like, okay, yeah, I think we get it. Yeah, I think we get it. But also, I didn't understand the lyrics because it's the whole chorus is her saying like, I will remind you, I'll keep reminding you who found who, like she found him, basically.
Right.
But then a bit later, she's like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who found who. So I'm like, so what's the fucking point of the song then?
That's why Jelly Bean's 99th of these music producers, not
terrible.
98th.
I need a little bit of consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say literally what you just did. The do-do-do-do, who found who. That is the entire song.
No,
you don't need to listen
really
to this song. Just that is it. Bing, 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 who found who. So that's bad. I did actually listen to Top of the Pops. Well, I watched the Top of the Pops version.
Okay.
And I think Eliza's singing live, which is very rare. I don't know. I was looking, usually it's very spot if somebody's...
You can tell, yeah.
Yeah, miming. And I think she was singing live. And it did sound a lot better. Oh. She was singing it a lot more like a soul track than a dance track.
Oh, okay.
And
that does sound
seriously,
better.
I was like, oh, this is not the same as the boring as hell, studio track. So, yeah, I don't know. But, I mean, they missed a trick by not having to do that in the recording. Maybe because, soul is out and dance is in, right? So,
jeez.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Very bad song. I hope we don't see Jelly Bean again.
I'm hoping it's finished, it's done. BANANARAMA with I Can't Help It.
Just rolls off the tongue.
I mean, yeah, previously we've not been able to help our disdain of their music. Perhaps a sign of decline. This song only reached number 20 in the UK. James, how do you feel about I Can't Help It?
It's very bad. It's the last Stock Aitken Waterman song on this album.
Yes.
I think literally the only thing I liked was when they said, "Oh, you're good to eat," and then they went "manger."
Good enough to eat, manger. I was going to say that. I was going to.
Literally the only good thing. I just put Stock Aitken Waterman farting since the back. So I think it's another one where they fire up the drum machine, whatever the fucking melody is, it's the same all the time. Incredibly generic lyrics in it. I'm hungry for your sweet love. I need you tonight. Oh, the only thing I thought was there's a line, I'm captivated by your honey. And I thought, if you're a honey business, you could use that in an advert.
Absolutely. You could do, yeah. No, that's true.
What does the chorus even go like?
I can't help it. I'm captivated by your honey.
That's it, yes. So captivated by your honey. That could be the tag, the over the line of on the advert kind of thing,
Yeah.
So, Banarimi, did you like the song, Bananarama?
Wow. No, I didn't. Unfortunately for them, I will say though, because I did watch a YouTube video that James sent me about the history of Bananarama that I was very much unfamiliar with. I'm very qualified to do this podcast. And I watched it. It was so interesting. It was genuinely very interesting. And I get what they were trying to do. They were really, as we've talked about before, just doing their own thing. And that was quite unheard of for a group of 3 women at the time to do. But, and they were, throughout the video, they're saying we really wanted to be taken seriously. We wanted to write songs about serious topics. Unfortunately for them, I think they sound better doing brainless pop music. It's unfortunate. It's not their fault. I think they're just their voices, the whole production of it does not lend itself to serious cultural commentary, or socio-political commentary, whatever must you have it. And I've said that before in previous songs that we've had. So as just a simple pop song, I thought it was fine. It's just nothing held me to it. I can remember it. I can sing it. But I also don't understand the lyrics. I'm captivated by your honey. For the longest time, I thought they were saying, I'm captivated by you, honey. That makes more sense to me. Yeah. What the hell does that mean? Your honey? What is honey? I don't want to know, actually. No, I'm good. So it's whatever. Thank you, girls.
I thought actually what you just said way at the start there, where you went, no, I didn't. That's a better chorus than the chorus in this song. I can imagine the song being like, no, I didn't.
No, I didn't like it. No, I didn't like it.
That can be our charity single for Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, Bananarama. I love to see them do a Leonard Cohen song or a fucking
oh my god, yeah,
Tom Waits song. When you walk through the garden, like this, that'd be brilliant. We want to be taken seriously. We're doing Leonard Cohen now.
Yes. Okay, girls, do it. Why not? James will be furious. It's Dollar with a cover of Erasure's Oh L'Amour, only 1 year after its original release. This reached number 7 in the UK, was Dollar's last major hit. James, are you ready to devalue Dollar?
Oh, big time. Just listen to the Erasure version. It's a great song. Don't listen to this. Dollar are really bad. David Van Day from Dollar is also a reprehensible human being. Oh. He once dumped his girlfriend live on TV on a Channel 5 chat show, and she took him back. It's really strange.
Jesus.
He basically just thinks just because he had a few hit singles in the 80s, he thinks he's like the man or whatever.
That's so sad.
But yeah, just listen to Erasure. That's it. It's a brilliant song, and they don't do a good version of it. So just listen to Erasure.
Yeah.
Don't have anything else to say.
No, and I don't have much to add. I completely agree. I didn't know the Erasure version, so I listened to Dollar first, hated it, really did not have a good time. And then you mentioned it's an Erasure song. It's like, let me listen to that. It's beautiful. It's stunning. The way it starts and his vocals. And I'm again reading it as a gay love song, which I think is the only way to read it. It's much more powerful.
Andy Bell from Erasure's gay.
Exactly.
Yeah. Looking for
it's
me.
Just beautiful.
Yeah, I was looking for you. Always too blind to see. the love that bit. The love of my heart. Always here by my side. It's fucking brilliant. So good.
It's so good because the first 2 lyrics of that bit are really hopeful and beautiful. And then when he goes down, he's talking about being disappointed in love. It's a beautiful example of using tonal melodies to describe a human emotion. You're lifting up, you're going higher and higher in the notes, and you're feeling the elations of love. And then as you go down, you're coming back down to earth, and you're realizing your love is not reciprocated. He just sings it so much more longing, and passionate and just pining, Yeah. And the Dollar one is just Jesus Christ, soulless. Wait, what? It's when he says, "Had you here by my side, you said I wasn't your kind, only here for the ride."
Yeah.
That's like basically a straight or non-assuming gay man, going for a ride with another gay man and being like, actually, I'm not gay. Like, I don't want to do this. It's typical, classic, and it's disgusting. Jesus. I was like, fuck, Andy, that's so sad. I love it. I added it to my likes. I added the whole album, actually.
Oh, yeah, that
So,
idea. I wasn't your kind.
I wasn't your
That's
kind,
good.
only here for the ride. Like, you don't give a shit. Just say you're gay, it's fine. God. No, really, yeah. So, yeah, completely agree. I'm repeating the James's sentiments. Go listen to Erasure. Don't bother with Dollar, whoever they are. Bonjour! Comment ça va? It's French icon Vanessa Paradis and her prepubescent major hit, Je le Taxi. This reached number 1 in France, obviously, Belgium, Canada, and Switzerland. And it was a top 5 hit in the UK and Ireland. I think it was a top 10 as well in the US. And it sold overall, it sold over 3 million copies worldwide, a third of which was only sold in France, which is a feat for a French hit song. It's a feat that hadn't been, and I don't think has been, equaled since Je t'aime moi non plus by Serge Gainsbourg and Jane Birkin, especially in overseas. I don't think we've had anything really that's topped that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other French language songs that would get in the top 10.
Yeah.
Very hard. Yeah.
It's very hard. Even now, pop girlie Angèle, she's not even French, she's from Belgium. French, it's hard to, I can't think of many.
Don't come to mind.
Nope.
Which is weird given how, close the two nations are and how much, British people tend to at least have a base passing knowledge of French or an appreciation of its beauty, let's say. Yeah. Even if they don't like France, they're like, the language is sounds beautiful on the ear,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for some reason, Je le Taxi spoke to a lot of people.
See, this is where I'm going to come in and do my English language version of Je le Taxi. Anyway, save that.
Go for it.
No. You talk about Je le Taxi.
Okay, I will talk about it. I'm going to defend the song a little bit, but I'm going to be nuanced about it.
You go for it. Yeah.
What should I start with? Well, I'll start with the subject matter of the song, right? So, and even to me, I have to admit, I only really did some research on this song fairly recently because it popped up on my YouTube. We were going through like French songs with Evie, and then Vanessa Paradis came up, and I was like, oh my God, this is such a famous song. You have to listen to it. And she just had, a fairly normal reaction to this song, being like, what the hell is she singing? How old is she? Why is she singing like that? Who's Je le Taxi? I don't understand. And then I was like, I actually don't really know the context of the song, so I did some research. Basically, Je le Taxi is based on a real person. It's inspired by a real person, a female taxi driver who emigrated to France to escape, I think, like a South American dictatorship. And she became like a designated taxi driver for this lesbian bar in Paris, which was kind of a fairly normal thing to do for those kind of more underground bars. They would have a designated or a few, drivers that would pick people up to go to the club or bring them home or whatever. So it's not like some weird guy picking up an underage girl. But unfortunately, if you don't know that, that's what it sounds like, It's also when the song starts, she says Barbès, which is very funny because on Spotify, the lyrics come up as like Barbesse, which is not how you spell it. It's Barbes, which is a metro station in Paris.
Okay.
So she's telling the taxi driver where to go. And immediately you're like, why is this 14-year-old going to Barbès? Barbès is close to Moulin Rouge. It's close where like there's a lot of clubs, there's a lot of sex shops, stuff like that. It's near Pigalle. So it's like, what the hell? Where are you going? Why are you going there? So that's the first kind of iffy thing. Other iffy thing is she was genuinely 14 years old when this song came out, when she made this song. Oh, God. And Vanessa Paradis, she's had a very interesting career. She's definitely a French icon, French like fashion icon. She's been the face of Chanel for God knows how long. Like she's always done stuff with Chanel from also very young. And I think like her uncle is a music producer or something like classic. And yeah, she did a lot of also stage performances on several different like French talent shows or something like that, which she won a few of them. So she was already at 14 years old really popular in France, which got her to be quite severely bullied in school. So she stopped going to school from like age 16 or something. And then, she got a lot of prizes like, best hope for French singing or best hope for French TV or acting or something like that. So she's done a few interesting things in her career. But in her personal life, it's never been like, reported upon as a serious issue. I think at the time, a lot of people were saying like, this is not right. For example, her first boyfriend when she was 16 was like 26 years old. And then she had a relationship with Lenny Kravitz. She was 19 and I think he was like 29, which, I mean, she was legal age, but it's still like, what the fuck is a 30-year-old doing with a 19-year-old? Anyway, so... And then she had a relationship with Johnny Depp for a really long time. And she stood by his side when he was accused with the Amber Heard thing, which is also a bit like, okay. So she's an interesting character and she's always done stuff. Like she had her kids and then she kept putting out music. One of her later albums I absolutely was obsessed with. I kept listening to it. It's called Divini Deal. It's so good. And she did some songs with Mathieu Chédid, who is a very famous French singer-songwriter. So in France, she is a household name. All this to say, I'm giving this my third half, I'm sorry, just the cultural impact of this song. And I like the composition of it. I think it's, just the like, dun-dun-dun-dun-dun-dun. Le taxi va pas partout. It's actually quite a nice background. The instrumental is nice, sounds nice. And I think it's also because I'm used to her voice. That's just how she still sounds the same. Obviously not exactly the same, but she just has that really soft. And a lot of female French singers have that. It's really like throaty. It's Jane Birkin. She kind of pioneered that singing/talking style. That's really soft. Carla Bruni did the same thing. It is an icon of a song in France. So I was actually surprised to see it on this side, even though I shouldn't be because it was so popular. But among all those kind of really like house tracks or pop tracks, suddenly this song is in the middle and I was like, that's such an interesting choice. And I respect it. Yeah, that's my defense. And for the rebuke,
no, I don't have a rebuke. I just found this very because what did you say? There was that guy. What's he called? Serge Gainsbourg. Didn't he also date like underage girls?
Yeah.
And there's also this thing in France in general that there's been a lot of celebrities dating underage girls.
France is famously a country of pedophiles. Yeah.
Yes, you said it.
No, it is. It really is.
Like if you're a director or an artist, you can get away with it because it's art and you're.
Yeah, famously Luc Besson.
There we go.
And his 13-year-old girl.
There's all these very dirty old French men.
Yep.
So when I see a 14-year-old French girl dancing like that, singing this song and in a girly way, I find it very... I don't know where to start, I think. Yeah. I think I do see your points. Like, somebody's wrote this song to put in her mouth, so to speak, to voice these lyrics, right? That they're not something that she's come up with, like probably some lot older men. So it's a lot of older men getting a girl to sing their song and shuffle on stage about it. I do think you're right. It does capture a certain essence. Like when I hear the song, I think of like dark Paris streets with rain belting down and like neon lights or, soft lights in the rain or the bars or whatever. It's this underworld of Paris. Like I thought, it does capture that with like the very soft saxophone and this mambo shuffle type of thing going on. And the lyrics are like that this taxi driver knows Paris like the back of their hand, and knows the underworld, let's say. And it's not really, the lyrics aren't really answering any questions, are they? They're just kind of alluding that there's more going on here, if you know what I mean. So I do agree with you. I do think it's an intriguing song. I just struggle to get past her age singing this song, being kind of maybe, I mean, you could say successfully manipulated, because it's made her a household name. She's probably made money off it in the long run. But the whole thing just kind of felt a bit off to me.
Yep, I think that's very fair.
But it's not as if like other countries are not guilty of this. I mean, like there was Charlotte Church in the UK, for example. There was the Sun newspaper had like a countdown until she was 16. Disgusting, you know. Yeah. But maybe not so much like it is. I think in the UK it is unacceptable to take somebody under 16 and only really like. But you do know that like people in the 70s, like the rock, like Led Zeppelin and all these kind of people, that they were definitely guilty of it. Although, but it wasn't at the time. You know, it wasn't. I don't know. There's obviously a dark heart to all of these entertainment industries. But in France, it's more this kind of. It's almost like there's a philosophical acceptance of it, not a turn the other way. It's more like it's a laissez-faire, to use this term. Idea of it, probably rooted in some kind of French philosophical or political morality of some kind. I'm not sure, but that's why I struggled with this song.
Let's talk about Morris Minor and the Majors' stutter rap, parentheses, no sleep till bedtime. James, what can you tell us about this song? This parody.
It's a parody of Beastie Boys, of No Sleep Till Brooklyn, No Sleep Till Bedtime. It's a parody of hip-hop at the time, and three comedians, and they're bad rappers because they stutter all the time. That's the joke. One of the comedians is actually Tony Hawk, who you might know. He was on. It's not the skateboarder. Oh. He's often known as the fifth dwarfer from Red Dwarf.
Oh.
Because on Red Dwarf, he played a lot of the ancillary characters. Like on the Better Than Life episode, he played the presenter of the Better Than Life. And he also did all the warm-ups prior to recording Red Dwarf. So I know him through Red Dwarf, and he's kind of a goofy guy. So I find him funny. And this song is pretty reprehensible. I don't know where to stand on it these days, because, are you allowed to mock people who've got stutters or stammers? I'm honestly not sure. But it's probably not. You probably can't, and you probably shouldn't. But I have to admit, there are some lines in this that I did actually find funny. Yeah. Like when he said, I'm down and out, and I'm down on my luck. I'm living on my own, and I'm dying for a friend to say you're great. I like it when songs do that. And the bit where they say, well, no one's ever seen what I mean from the age of 13. Yeah. Taking the piss out of 19. But yeah, there's loads of stupid stuff like where they're like, why are they always shouting on these songs? Very loud, and it's very English, and they're having like a cup of tea and being like what am I saying? I like to go to bed by 10. And it's like, no, we have to stay up till midnight. Anyway, it's not worth listening to. It's a silly parody song. But yeah, there was a couple of chuckles in there.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was very funny, and I found the stutters very satisfying. I think they actually added more to the rhythm.
Yeah.
Than a normal rap track, I guess. It just made it sound more interesting. Yeah. So even if they were like kind of, I think that the parody is more powerful than just making fun of someone with a stutter. Like it works. It's for a purpose.
It's all tongue in cheek. They're not very serious at all, are they? Yeah.
Yeah, and the talking books are so funny when they're like, "Okay, you can start now. You could. Okay, let's go." It's so cute.
Yeah. It's not mean-spirited.
No. It's a nice addition. Yeah, and it's nice to hear, some artists taking the piss out of it a little bit, because some of those songs are just like generally sound like parodies, but they're playing it straight. They're being serious.
Exactly.
So it's refreshing. It's nice.
It's time for your educational segment.
It's time for my educational bit. The next 5 or 6 songs are really coming out of this time in British music that is called acid house. And I did a lot of research on that. Yes, I did the same thing. I watched a lot of documentaries about it, and it's very interesting. And in one of them, the Waterman guy was in it. I was like, oh, hi, Derek
Pete
or
Waterman,
Tom
what?
Beach. Yeah, great lad. No, it was very interesting. And these kind of songs are also announcing the second summer of love of 1988.
Is this still the City of Love? Yeah.
Is this still the City of Love?
Is this still the Summer of Love?
It's the Summer of Love. Exactly. It's different. It was called that because it basically echoed the Summer of Love of 1967, which is like the OG hippie, love time. It's very interesting history. Basically, it all started in Ibiza. Some, English DJs went to Ibiza for a holiday, had a great time, and they started hearing these beats and these songs and these tracks in the clubs that they were going to. And they never really heard anything like it. And these were tracks that were coming from Chicago and Detroit. House music, basically. And, very simple, as James said, it's kind of the same thing, but it came from disco, and then they stripped it bare and left with bass line, a great, drum line as well. Maybe a few lyrics here and there, maybe someone singing, and a lot of sampling. So these guys, these English DJs are hearing this and they're like, hold on. And the crowds in the clubs in Ibiza were responding very well to this sound. And a lot of the documentaries and the articles I read were also talking about, back in England, I think this had been like 10 years of Thatcherism or something like that. And it was just, grey, bleary, people were severely depressed, normal people, I mean. And on the other side, like working people, and on the other side of that, you have these young entrepreneurs, like Thatcher's children, basically, it's the start of individualism and real hard individual capitalism, and kind of thinking, I don't have to come from a rich family to make it. If I can find a venture or something that can make me money, I can do it. And that also is like very, I guess, American thinking. So you have these DJs and club entrepreneurs, or also talent spotters, talent researchers, who are like, okay, we'll open this, we can make money with this. We'll open these clubs and use this sound as an attraction because it's new. Young people are responding to it. Let's try it. And so there were a few really famous, popular clubs that opened in the early 80s, but really got more and more traction in the later 80s when Acid House really started. I think the most famous one was the Hacienda in Manchester, which is huge, because the people who owned the club also owned a record company. And do you see what I mean? It's like anything that can bring money in, you're going to do it. And so parallel to this, because also what they were saying was that obviously there were clubs in these, towns and cities in the UK before this. This is not a new thing, but they were quite exclusionary. And that kind of reflected the feeling of the time that, these people, is kind of a sad, depressing loop of these normal working class people being rejected from society, losing their jobs, not being helped, not seeing the divide between the very rich and the very poor grow. And then in their own private lives, if you want to find some kind of entertainment and enjoy yourself, you also see a divide there. If you're not dressed properly, if you don't know the right people, you can't get into those clubs. And they're playing more, I guess, generic mainstream 80s music at this point. So you have these more underground, huge clubs. I think the Hacienda was like not a shipyard, but it's like a huge warehouse.
Yeah.
Which sounds pretty normal now, I guess, but at the time was quite revolutionary, where you could come in. You queued a little bit. If you buy your ticket, you can come in. No one was rejected at those doors, So for the young adult or the teen who feels unheard, not understood, passed off, or even for the adult, it's like paradise to have these clubs. And what was also very interesting is how people talk about MDMA or ecstasy in these documentaries or in those articles, because the reality of it is acid house and house music in general in the UK would not have flourished the way it had were it not for ecstasy. Yeah. Really, that's the truth, because they went really hand in hand. And you know the famous smiley face logo? That was really the start of that. And the feeling you get dancing to this type of music for hours on end, you can really only do that if you're high on ecstasy specifically, I think. It's the perfect mix. There were a few people who were teens in those days and who were talking about it in retrospect as adults were like, I could have enjoyed myself without the drug and stuff, but I have a hard time believing them. Or I think you could enjoy yourself for a night, but it was really the start of like rave culture where you would dance and stay in that club for days, you know, for 3 days, basically. And just dance and dance and dance and dance and dance and dance. So that the music history of it is very interesting. It really comes from Black culture, really, house, and a lot of the people in those interviews. I think there was one guy who he created also a record company or a record label or something, and he was like, all these white dudes who could never dance, who had never learned how to dance. It didn't matter because they were, or suddenly the drug kind of cut their inhibitions, and they could let loose and experience their body in a way that is so not English. Have confidence, you know, in themselves and just express themselves. It was
primal,
so interesting.
Isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
The music's kind of primal.
Yes,
because it's so
very basic,
trance-like, repetitive. It's taking you to another place. That idea.
Yeah. This is why we're speedrunning the next few songs, because it's hard to appreciate them completely sober as we are. Just wanting to point that out. Then, and unfortunately, I do think it's also a product of its time. I think the, you know, acid house kind of time has gone. You still, of course, get clubs here, you know, that are open for the whole weekend, and you can party for as long as you want, but they're not playing this kind of music, I don't think. And going back to the drugs, it's not a drug that makes you aggressive or sad, I guess. I'm sure you must come down from it at some point, but paired with this kind of repetitive trance-like music, I'm sure, you know, it can really help you feel like you're experiencing something insane, you know, something transcendental. And this is a lot of the feedback that you get from these interviews or these articles of people talking about that time. They felt in communion with the entire room, with the entire club. It's like you're not dancing with a partner or just by yourself. You're dancing with everybody there. Everybody is up because everybody's off their absolute rocket. Feeling like this is it. We're all in this together, you know? There was a woman who used to work for the Hacienda was talking about how she used to hate those more mainstream clubs because it was more chasing. It's like you're going there to pick up someone, you know, to find someone, and that's the whole point. Whereas underground clubs like Hacienda or some other ones were more about the music, discovering new kinds of music, and being in a room full of like-minded people who were, you know, just chilling. And another last comparison that I want to talk about is this feeling of love and community. It's always about community in the end, is in direct answer or opposition to Thatcher, to the end of Margaret Thatcher, where she had, you know, created this huge divide and just destruction and the end of the industrial towns, and the feeling that, you know, you're also, I guess, more an English character thing, or not character, but growing up, a lot of these people are not physical with their parents in a emotional way, you know? A lot of these kids, some guy was talking about like he'd never kissed his mum or something. It's like, what the? That's, but that was the time. Or you wouldn't talk about things with your parents, you know?
Or you'd generational trauma going on.
Yeah, you'd never see your parents cry or something like that, you know? And I guess it's a whole generation of people looking for community and love, basically, and acceptance. And those clubs and those spaces provided exactly that. And it's also the beginning of rave scenes and those huge parties in fields, you know, in the middle of nowhere. So that's why I can understand why they're calling it the second summer of love, because it's echoing that want, that missing community feel. But it's clouded by this capitalism ventures, because the people who own these clubs made so much money, and it was just about that. They didn't, a lot of them were talking about how, they were providing an experience, and they were also partaking, of course. But unfortunately, as soon as also you have drugs involved, it becomes a bit unsavory, let's say, and dangerous. And there was a whole thing about as well with the police. Of course, the police is the ally of the state, not of the people, as we know. And so, as always, they try to shut it down, and they see these kind of young people as the enemy of the state and the peace of the state and of the country, when actually, they weren't doing anything that crazy. I guess for us now, it doesn't seem that crazy. For the time, it was a bit like, holy shit, what is happening? That's when also in 1988, there was that very famous Sun tabloid that reads, "Spaced out, 11,000 youngsters go drug crazy at Britain's biggest ever acid party." This is when, a few months before that, all the newspapers were seeing this as a great thing, like a positive thing, getting the young people out and, getting out of this dreary, miserable period. And then once the drugs are involved, they're like, oh my God, these people are like off their heads. It's going to be terrible. We're losing our youth. They're disturbing the peace. So I think that also created more of a divide between the generations. I kind of veered off a bit with that, but...
Should we quickly run down these tracks that we're talking about?
Absolutely. So, hold on tight. First of all, we've got Bomb the Bass. Wait, is that the name of the song?
No, that's the band.
No, that's the band. We've got Bomb the Bass with Beat This.
Where they just tried to do Pump Up the Volume, but differently.
Yeah.
Bit of a tune, 58 samples over the top of it.
Yeah. Apparently number 2 in the UK.
Fair enough.
You
got Cold Cut, yeah. Doctor in the House.
Yeah.
Which is a bit better.
Doctor in the House.
So a beat with that over the top of it.
Doctor in.
I thought nice vocal makes it feel a bit euphoric.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like Yaz.
Yeah.
That's the person singing.
The Only Way Is Up.
Yeah.
Then you've got Crush, House Arrest. I don't remember what this one got. Crush. I can't remember how that goes.
I can't remember either, but in the music video, she looks very small. She's a small woman, and I believe she has dreadlocks. And I don't know how I feel about that.
And it's a beat with samples, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got Jack and Chill, the Jack that House built, which is more pure house, isn't it?
Yes.
It's got that weird synth line, like a really high pitched synth.
Yeah.
Melody going through it that I can imagine dancing to that one.
Yeah.
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 Then Beatmasters featuring the Cookie Crew. Rock the House.
Rock the House.
R-O-K.
Yeah.
Yeah.
D-A.
And this is one of the first ever hip house records. Hip hop and house music together, which is a bit more interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Can't remember how it goes.
No. 2 men, a drum machine and a trumpet. I'm tired of getting pushed around.
Yeah.
And that was a beat with a trumpet. And a piano.
Yeah.
And some samples. But thanks for your educational segment, Leo. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
And if you're on an E right now, you could check out those tracks and maybe you'll enjoy them.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it would, maybe it would enhance your experience or not.
Yes.
Don't know.
I do think it's interesting that it feels like we've really turned the corner with...
Yes.
This is the 80s coming to a close, and it's the 90s. Yeah. The roots of the 90s somewhere, isn't it?
You can hear the 90s in the distance coming
Exactly, yeah. Because this kind of music is going to really influence early 90s dance music and things like that.
Simon Clemmy and Rob Fisher as Clemmy Fisher with their song about erectile dysfunction rise to the occasion. Only joking. It's about heartbreak or whatever. The song reached number 10 in the UK and number 1 in the Netherlands and South Africa for some reason. Number 1 is crazy. Yeah. That's crazy.
I'm dreading you saying, James, what do you think about it? Because it's another song that you cannot remember. I wrote just evaporates into the thin air. It's so it's almost like it doesn't leave the speakers. It's so forgettable. And it's just this wispy, sentimental rubbish that is completely forgettable.
It's
Not
so
worth talking
strange.
about.
No, it's so strange to me that they finished this side with that song.
Yeah, 5 house songs and then that.
After all this, like, and then suddenly, I'll rise to the occasion.
Is that how it goes?
Double temptation. Something.
Oh yeah, it does remind you of a bit of like a 90s boy band kind of song a little bit.
Oh my god, yeah, absolutely. NSYNC.
Yeah, something like that.
They could sing that.
It's NSYNC are too
ballad.
good. More like a
true.
third-rate British boy band would sing this.
Okay, yeah, I wouldn't know.
A1. Oh, do you remember A1?
Nope.
Things are so different now, you're gone. And now I'm caught, and now caught in the middle. Do you remember
that? Sounds familiar.
911. Do you remember 911?
No, there's not a group called 911.
There was a group.
You're joking.
Wait until the midnight. Is you gonna love 911?
Stop.
Body shaking. You got my body shaking.
Body shaking.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were very bad.
Let's wrap it up. What is your rating?
I'd say between a D and an E.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give it an F. I recognise that it's capturing a cultural moment.
Mm-hmm.
And Joyce Smith.
Joyce was good.
Joyce Smith?
Sims.
Joyce Sims.
Joyce Smith.
Yeah. And Kylie was good.
Kylie, yeah.
So, I did give a Hoff to... What did I give a Hoff to? I'll give Hoff to Kylie, and I'll give a Hoff to Joyce, and I'll give a Hoff to Jelly Bean, because there's nothing else.
Oh?
Yeah, God, that's so bad. That's the worst Hoffs I've ever given in my life.
It's really not good.
Let's say E.
Yeah, I'm an E as well. I was an E first side, and I'm an E this side too.
Which collectively makes Now 11 with a D and an E the worst Now album we've encountered so far.
Yep.
And I would be genuinely surprised if we had a worse one. Genuinely surprised.
I'm hopeful that we won't.
I think this might be the worst that they'll get.
This might be the worst, yeah. This is not good.
I feel a bit like I don't know if you don't watch Red Letter Media, do you, on YouTube?
No.
They watch a lot of B movies, a lot of very bad movies, and so many episodes they say, this is the worst thing we've ever seen. And then one of them, Jay, he always says, you say that every episode. So I hope we're not going to get in that situation where it's like, we're on Now 14, we're like, oh my God, this is the worst we've ever seen.
Oh, for God's sake, I hope not.
I seem to remember like Now 6, I don't know why, was bad, but I honestly I won't be able to confirm that.
No.
Won't
be able to confirm or deny.
This is the worst. This is definitely
This was so bad. But we still managed to, bring out some educational and interesting moments from it.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Oh, yeah. Now 6 side 2 was bad.
It was bad, yeah.
It starts off with UB40, I Got You, Babe.
Oh.
And yeah, very good.
Listen to that episode if you want more terrible music.
But we'll be back next time.
We shall.
And we'll be talking about Now 12, which, thank Christ, looks so much better.
Significantly
Belinda,
improved.
Elton John,
yes.
Morrissey, Iron Maiden, Sabrina, Tiffany, Communards, Salt and Pepper.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, at least better. I've just seen the jelly beans there right at the end. So.
Oh shit.
Well, I have to eat some more jelly beans.
Damn it.
Okay. Well, it's been a lovely Nadir speedrun.
Yep. Well done.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you so much.
If you disagree and you think that this house music is the best thing ever and you were there, tell us.
Please let us know.
We won't report your drug taking to the police or anything.
No, of course not.
I think it's beyond the statute of limitations, isn't it? 40 years later.
I think so, yeah. I think
had a knee in a field near Wigan.
You're in the clear.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Maybe if Rishi Sunak was still here, it might be. But, yeah.
True.
Keir Starmer's got bigger fish to fry.
I think so.
Okay. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
And that was then.
And
this is now. Excellent.
Thank you.
Bye.